Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Clutter. I'm your host, Margo, a professional organizer specializing in chronic clutter. And today we're mixing it up with a little fun. I'm pulling back the curtain and sharing the 10 things I personally never keep as a professional decluttering coach. Some of these might surprise you, some you might totally agree with, and others might make you want to defend that chipped coffee mug you've had since college. And that's okay. Let's jump right in. Number one, food containers with no lids. I used to be someone who would constantly buy plastic containers, whether it was at the, Five Below or at IKEA. And I just found myself having a graveyard of containers that didn't match, lids that I don't know how would disappear. Like I've always wondered, and let me know, I've always wondered what happens. Where do the containers go? Where do the lids go? It reminds me of like when you're doing laundry and all of a sudden you come back and socks are missing. Like where is it going? How is it disappearing? So a couple of years ago, I honestly got rid of all of my plastic containers. I got super tired of looking for the ones that I need. I got super tired of my cabinet being incredibly messy. And what I did is I invested in glass containers. It was a set. It cost me like $50. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've never lost any lids. It's been a complete and utter game changer to just have one set. This next one, some of you might not agree with, and that's totally okay. And it is clothing that no longer fits. Now, something I want to say right off the bat is I am a clothing minimalist. I own very little. I'm somebody that does not enjoy decision fatigue. And I used to be somebody that would buy tons and tons of clothing for every single season. I would never declutter them. I would have an overabundance. It would take me a really long time to figure out what to wear. I don't like options. This is why I'm not a big fan of diner menus. I love diners, don't get me wrong, but I don't like diner menus because there's so many options. I typically do not go past the breakfast page. So I am somebody, if the clothing does not fit, if the clothing does not flatter, I immediately get rid of it. And I currently don't own much. I pretty much own a week's worth of clothing for each season, which means if I don't do laundry, I have nothing to wear. But I am somebody where I know a lot of folks, maybe you've gained some weight and you want to drop, a couple of sizes. So maybe you are tempted to hold on to an entire wardrobe. Again, I am only speaking to myself. If you are somebody who's currently working out, who's trying to be healthier, who's trying to lose weight, yes, of course, by all means, keep the older clothing. For me, I tend to stay the same size. After I had my daughter, obviously I gained some weight, and after I lost it, I've been hovering around the same size. So with that said, again, if the clothing just does not fit well, I do not hold on to anything for just in case. Oh my God, what if, 2 years from now, it's going to go back in style. I should keep it. I do not do that. I declutter every season. I get rid of what I didn't love, what I didn't wear, because look, I am human. So there'll be times where I'll purchase something because the mood strikes and I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, of course I'm going to wear this pink sweater. I primarily wear black, white, and beige. So I don't know, like who is that woman who's going to wear that pink sweater? But anyways, mistakes happen. But again, I will not, if the clothing does not fit, if it does not flatter me, if it's not feel good items, I only, my wardrobe is curated in only feel good items. Anything I put on in the morning, first of all, I don't have much. So making the decision of what to wear is super easy. But every item in my dresser and in my closet are feel good clothing that fit me right, that make me feel good, that make me feel confident and bring up my self-esteem. Number 3, as far as what I do not keep as a decluttering coach, is unused kitchen gadgets. We have all been there where we bought like an avocado slicer or popcorn machines or banana holders or bread baskets, like all of these things that we see on TikTok. And we're like, absolutely, like I need this in my life. No, you don't. I find that less is more, especially when it comes to kitchen gadgets, because let's be honest, we don't necessarily have that much space in our kitchen. Kitchen countertop space is also very limited. So it's just, it's much better to just have less. So if I've been even gifted some of these things, like somebody once gifted me a bread basket, and don't get me wrong, it was a super cute bread basket, but like I'm not gonna put my bread in it. Like I'm just not. It's cute, and then like where do you keep it? On the counter? I live in a tiny New York City apartment. The only thing that's on my kitchen counter right now is my coffee machine, Mary, because I cannot live without her. Like where am I putting this bread basket? I'm just saying. So again, this is me. If you have unused kitchen gadgets, I'm like, you know what? I'm not keeping it. Whether it was a gift or a mistake purchase, I will donate it. But if I'm only going to use an item once or twice a year, it is not worth me keeping. Number 4, expired beauty products. Old mascara from 2 years ago. The crusty serum in the back of the cabinet, gone. I love my skincare, but I also love my face. So expired stuff has no place in my routine. Not only that, I am somebody who's also has a very, very minimalistic skincare routine. I have one toner, one serum, one under eye cream, and then I have a day cream, moisturizer, and a night cream. And that is it. I do not want a variety of beauty products. I know that it could be incredibly tempting. A lot of my clients, they've bought beauty products that were like $50, $60, $70, and then they feel guilty getting rid of it. You might feel guilty for like a day, for 2 days, for a week, getting rid of the item, but what is it costing you to hold on to these things for just in case purposes? And then yes, a lot of these products expire. So go through your beauty products and toss what you don't need. Number 5 are freebies and swag that I don't love. I used to be somebody who would collect tote bags and pens like trophies. Now, if it's not beautiful or useful to me, I let it go. It's very tempting, especially when they like discontinued, when you go food shopping, they're like, oh, we don't do plastic bags anymore. So all of us randomly got a bunch of totes. Next thing I knew, I had like 15 totes. I'm like, when in the world am I using all of them? So I had like 1 or 2 favorites, typically from Trader Joe's, and that is it. And that is like my max. I think right now I have 3 Trader Joe's totes, and then I have 1 tote that I keep in my car just in case like randomly I shop or I stop by the grocery store. That is it, but it could be super tempting to buy these totes. They make these totes super appealing and cute, and it's like you want them, but at the end of the day, I am very big on being practical, and I do not need more than I use. The funny thing about me, because I've been on this decluttering journey and I've been coaching women for many, many years, I now have the opposite problem where I actually feel guilty when I have too much stuff. Like I definitely do the 1 in, 1 out rule. So recently I bought 2 t-shirts and I literally was like, oh my God, I need to get rid of 2 other t-shirts. Like I need to, like I have guilt over keeping too much. And some of you might be like, okay, Margo, that sounds absolutely insane. But if you've decluttered your entire home and you've done that multiple times, your mindset shifts and you become so much more aware of what doesn't serve you. And you want to, and again, I'm not a minimalist. I'm a minimalist in my wardrobe. I'm a minimalist in my kitchen. I am not a minimalist in my home overall. What I mean by that is I have magnets on my fridge and photographs, and I have, hundreds of books that are curated in a library, and I have throw pillows and blankets. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form telling you to toss or keep anything. I'm literally just going through what I, as a professional decluttering coach, do not keep in my home. Next, number 6 is single-use appliances. I've had clients that like bought blenders or bullets, and they were like, oh my God, I'm going to make smoothies and I'm going to blend all these things. And then they realize, they're busy. They have 4 kids. They're not blending or making juices or making smoothies. Again, it can be incredibly tempting to hold on to this for just in case. Maybe 5 years from now, I am going to do this. And I'm just somebody that, again, I'm not trying to be wasteful. A lot of the stuff that I part with, I actually donate to a variety of organizations, or I give to my family and friends or my neighbors. It feels good to give things away, right, to somebody in need. But with that said, I'm okay with making a mistake, right? I've been there. I've made mistakes where I got rid of something that 6 months later I needed, but I'd rather take that hit than hold on to things that I'm not using. And when I say not using, I don't mean like for a week. I mean like if it's been 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you have not used these things, or you have that moment of, oh my God, I didn't even know I had it, I let it go. Number 7, again, some of you may or may not disagree with this, is excess towels and linens. I typically keep double of what I need for my family. So 3 people in the family, 6 towels, right? And then I will typically keep another extra 2 or 3 towels for when I have guests come over, because I do have guests come over and stay over. The decision of how many towels and linens to keep is up to you, but I've worked with clients that have literally had 2 people in the household. Yes, the family sometimes comes by and sleeps over, and they have like 20 towels, right? Again, for me, it's been long enough where I typically do not host 10 people sleeping over my house. A lot of these things obviously are washable, so I keep enough for me and my family, and then sporadically I keep a couple of extra ones for when I have guests over. All right, number 8, a lot of you are going to be like, no, Margo, don't say it. And number 8, again, for me, is coffee mugs that I don't love. I am an avid, obsessive coffee drinker. I mean, to the point where I named my dog Coffee. I love, love, love coffee. I can't live without it. But I no longer need to have 20 coffee mugs. And I know this is subjective, and I know a lot of you are going to be like, what if you have guests, or what if you have that? Okay, I'm not telling you that you should get rid of coffee mugs that you use for guests. What I'm saying is, I do not keep coffee mugs unless they're being used. I have 1 coffee mug that I use every single day. I have another coffee mug for my mom who comes over. And then I have 2 extra coffee mugs that are kept on top on a higher shelf for when guests come over. That is it. That is my choice. But I used to be somebody that every time I walked into Home Goods, I'm like, this one is pretty, and this one is pretty, and this one is pretty. Listen, I'm weak. I'm weak when it comes to coffee mugs. With that said, it's just not practical to keep a lot that you're not using. With that said, if you're somebody, I've had clients that go, I like a different coffee mug 5 days a week. That's fine. Keep the 5 coffee mugs. But if you are not using them, there's absolutely no reason for them to be taking up space in your cabinet. Number 9, along the same lines, are water bottles. I don't know how we end up with like dozens of water bottles. Like even my daughter, they'll have events in school, she'll bring back water bottles, or around the holiday times, she'll be gifted water bottles, or sometimes people will gift me, my clients, whatnot, will gift me water bottles because it's such an easy thing to gift. And like we are tempted to hold on to it because we might need it someday. I'm like, absolutely not. My daughter has a water bottle. I have a backup water bottle for her, and I have 1 water bottle for myself. That is it. And finally, number 10, sentimental clutter that is toxic. And what I mean by that is items that bring back memories that are not positive, that are negative. And when I say not positive, I don't mean, that maybe make you sad. Maybe you have things that you're holding on to because you've lost a loved one or you've lost a parent. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying part with those. But we have sentimental items that are from our past that bring up bad memories, that shame us, that make us feel bad, that make us feel angry. I do not hold on to anything unless it's a positive memory. I honestly, and again, this varies from person to person, I myself only have 1 sentimental box where I have a couple of photographs from, extended family. I have my daughter's first stuffy. I have her first baby hat and a few other items that are very, very personal to me. If there are items like from my travels, I have traveled extensively around the world, so I obviously have purchased items from there. I typically will let them go. What I usually will do is I will take a photograph of them and I'll put it in a photo album, but I don't actually hold on to the item. The truth is, decluttering isn't about minimalism or being ruthless. It's about choosing what supports the life that you want to live. For me, saying goodbye to these 10 categories helps me stay light, clear, and intentional in my space. And it can do the same for you. So now I'm curious, which one of these would you never part with? Or maybe you've got your own list of must-go items. Hit me up on Instagram at Be Good to Yourself by Margo. As always, thank you so much for listening. Good luck on your decluttering journey, and remember to be good to yourself.